Support WrestleTalk!
Order your copy of the WrestleTalk Almanac today using the link below.
Thank you for being an awesome pledgehammer on Patreon, the Craftsman Blake Carpenter. Bobby Lashley has a squash match, Viking Raiders have a squash match, Cesaro has a squash match, and a janitor teams with Roman Reigns. And Kofi Kingston is injured just days before Extreme Rules. Click the timestamps in the video description to be taken to any of those stories right now. I am Chopper Pete Quinnell, filling in for Ollie as he's on holiday. Have yourself a super click party by pressing the thumbs up, subscribe, and bell icons to enable notifications so you never miss another WrestleTalk video, and leave us a comment answering the question of the day, which today is, which match are you most looking forward to at Extreme Rules? And make sure to press the eye above my head to let us know what you thought of the show, where you can choose from Rawsome, Core, Average, Poor, and Rawful. This is the 8th of July episode of Monday Night Raw. The show kicked off with Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins teaming up to face off against Zelina Vega and Andrade in a mixed tag match. Oh wait, sorry, a mixed tag elimination match, which makes no sense, but let's look past that because this was a pretty fun match. Zelina managed to get some decent offense in before Becky tapped her out with the disarmer. After the ad break, Andrade and Rollins essentially now had a singles match, which means the first fall is pointless? But again, looking past that, this was really fun. Rollins and Andrade have some really good chemistry, although I feel like I said about pretty much every Andrade match now, and I for one would absolutely love to see a pay-per-view match between the two of them. The finishing sequence was a very fun one, with Rollins hitting the stomp for the win. But here comes Baron Corbin and Lacey Evans to remind us of a much more inferior mixed tag team, with the pair of them attacking Lynch and Rollins on the ramp, which they then gloat about afterwards. Paul Heyman cuts an in-ring promo next, saying that Brock Lesnar is cashing in on Sunday, which is a spoiler, which means it isn't a spoiler, and they just want you to buy the pay-per-view. Paul seemed really tired during this promo, not having his usual fire and passion, and one has to wonder if it has anything to do with his upcoming role as Raw Executive Director. A last man standing match between Bobby Lashley and Braun Strowman was confirmed next. I thought Braun Strowman had a ruptured spleen. Before Shane McMahon and Drew McIntyre had multiple backstage segments in the night, looking for Roman Reigns' tag partner who Shane gets to choose. They encounter a bin man, a concessions guy, and a janitor. All solid choices. Back to the ring now, and we have a 2 out of 3 full 6-man tag match between the Usos and The Miz against The Revival and Elias. This was also quite fun. The heels took most of the control before Miz and Elias began brawling on the outside, which allowed The Revival to hit a shadow machine and pick up the first fall. After the ad break, Elias has abandoned The Revival, so it was a 2 out of 3 full 6-man tag match, but now it's a 2 out of 3 falls 2-on-3 handicap match. Can someone say convoluted? This was also really fun, not least due to The Revival and the Usos being really good tag teams. Miz tagged in and immediately hit a skull-crushing finale for the second fall, before the Usos hit a double super kick and splash for the third fall. Drake Maverick is backstage with his wife, who says that after tonight they can consummate the marriage, before Maverick gets chased off with the usual 24/7 horde of wrestlers. It's the return of Rey Mysterio. He comes out and cuts a brief promo saying that he beat the Doctor's expectations and now he's back, and he issues an open challenge, which is answered by Bobby Lashley. Last week's segment with Braun has really elevated Bobby's stock, so I actually did not mind him answering this at all. He quickly disposed of Mysterio despite a 619 and beat up Mysterio some more on the ramp. Charlie Caruso attempted to interview the club about their actions last week, but Styles says he doesn't owe anyone an explanation and tells her to get out of his face. Up next was No Way Jose versus Cesaro, with Cesaro quickly besting Jose with a swing and sharpshooter combination. The Street Profits are backstage again. This time they're just here to hype Extreme Rules and plug the network. They're funny, but I do wish they were doing something more meaningful. Next was a video recap of that bizarre Mike and Maria Kanellis segment last week, which they really doubled down on this week. Mike is backstage giving Maria flowers and apologizing for last week for some reason, before Maria sends him away for ice cream and pickles. I hope not together. Next was a split-screen sit-down interview with Nikki Cross and Bayley, as the two will be competing in a Beat the Clock challenge tonight, with the winner picking the stipulation for Bayley versus Alexa Bliss at Extreme Rules. Bayley and Nikki say some generic words about Alexa, and the matches are made for later: Bayley versus Sarah Logan and Nikki Cross versus Dana Brooke. R-Truth and Carmella are backstage next, looking for Drake Maverick, before he and the 24/7 horde rush past. Carmella hops on his back, and he runs the wrong way. solid truth segment. After taking on the New Day last week, the Viking Raiders are back squashing local talent, because nothing built a team more than going backwards in the pecking order. Next up was Ricochet versus Luke Gallows, and Ricochet cut a quick promo before the match, saying he knows that AJ Styles and Carl Anderson will be coming out with Gallows, and says that he'll just have to fight all three of them. It was at this point I made a prediction. Look, see? Here's my notes. This match will end with a roll-up, and after an ad break, it'll be Ricochet versus Anderson. I was right. Gallows dominated Ricochet before Ricochet rolled him up out of nowhere. Styles got on the mic and said he should face Anderson, and he did. After an ad break, of course. This match was a lot better, with Ricochet hitting the 630 for the win before the club immediately assaulted him, including a wicked-looking brainbuster, a magic killer, and a phenomenal forearm. Drake Maverick is backstage again, this time attempting to grab his wife to go on a proper honeymoon, before Truth and a referee emerge from the crate his wife was sitting on, and Carmella comes out from another crate. The referee hops on Truth's back as they chase Maverick away. The Beat the Clock challenge was next, with Sarah Logan still entering with the Riot Squad music, even though that faction hasn't been a thing since WrestleMania 35, and Bayley was able to beat her in 4 minutes 32 seconds with a sunset bomb in the corner, although Logan did look pretty good. After that, it was Nikki's turn against Dana Brooke. Dana immediately rolled out of the ring, forcing time to tick from the clock because she's a heel and Nikki is a face? Bayley then encourages Dana's behavior, so she is also a heel? Or maybe not wrestling and purposefully wasting time outside the ring is now a face move? Nikki comfortably beat Dana in about 2 minutes, and she made the match on Sunday a 2-on-1 handicap match for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Bayley constantly laughs and smiles at Nikki not taking her seriously, then beats her up because that's a thing that a face does, I guess. Who is a face and who is a heel? Mike is backstage still getting shouted at for doing the things his wife tells him to do, and then Corey Graves attempts to stir tension between Rollins and Lynch, which fails. Now, the main event. Roman Reigns and his janitor tag partner against Shane McMahon and Drew McIntyre. The janitor is introduced as Gary the Goat Garbutt, and he comes out doing his best Chopper impersonation. The match gets underway straight after the ad break, with Reigns laying in clotheslines and a Superman punch attempt straight away. Gary accidentally tags himself in, and McIntyre throws him into the ring. Gary then goes crazy, displaying some nutty athletic ability with leaps and dives and flips, before getting cut off with a Claymore from McIntyre, which allows Shane to get the pin. It's then revealed that the person under the mask was none other than Cedric Alexander, who looks really pleased with himself for some reason, and that's how the show goes off the air. Huh? After last week, I was pretty hopeful that things may be about to pick up for Raw. This week showed that that hope was misplaced. The show started well and had some decently fun segments peppered throughout, but the big storylines, the ones that take up the most time, are the worst ones on the show. And for that, this episode of Raw is poor. And now, over to Luke for the news.
Great review, Pete, and thanks once again for filling in for Ollie Lesnar. Sunday night saw Impact Wrestling hold Slammiversary 17, which was headlined by the excellent intergender match between Sami Callihan and Tessa Blanchard. But one of the other big stories of the night was the injury angle to Santana of LAX, who went down during the three-way tag title match with the North and the Rascals. While it was quickly reported this was nothing more than a storyline, Figure 4 Online are now reporting that this was also LAX's last match for Impact Wrestling. According to their daily update, the duo have offers on the table from both WWE and All Elite Wrestling. PW Insider, however, are reporting that their offers expire in August, and Impact are keen to offer top money to get them to stay. Someone else who could be done with Impact is former world champion Johnny Impact, with PW Insider reporting that Slammiversary was also his final night with the company. The report says that his contract expired a couple of weeks ago, but Impact agreed to work with the promotion to finish his storyline with Rich Swann. PW Insider note that Johnny Impact is now a free agent and can negotiate with any company he likes, but add that the two sides are still in talks about continuing their relationship. Someone who also had offers to go elsewhere but have decided to stay with WWE, however, is Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows. Following the rumors that Gallows and Anderson had decided to stick with the company last week, PW Insider are now reporting that they have officially put pen to paper and have signed new 5-year deals for a reportedly ridiculously amazing financial offer. PW Insider add that the reformation of the club was a big factor in them staying, and that New Japan were interested in bringing Gallows and Anderson back into their fold, while AEW were also keen to sign the pair to their promotion. Someone else who looks to be staying with WWE despite the rumors of her going elsewhere is Sasha Banks. The boss hasn't been seen on WWE TV since losing her women's tag team championships to the Iconics at WrestleMania in April, with various rumors from various outlets saying she was creatively frustrated with WWE and was looking to sit out the rest of her contract. However, it was reported recently that Banks and WWE have come to an agreement for her to return, with PW Insider reporting that the boss is being locally advertised for the July 22nd Raw in Tampa. Not only that, but a local advertisement in Toronto for SummerSlam prominently features Sasha Banks on the poster. It's also being speculated that Banks could return to WWE as early as this Sunday at Extreme Rules in the corner of Bayley, who takes on Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross in a 2-on-1 handicap match for her SmackDown Women's Championship. And speaking of SmackDown, it's sadly being reported that WWE Champion Kofi Kingston could possibly be injured. This comes from a house show report from Monday, where Kofi himself announced that he wouldn't be wrestling on the show as advertised as he was dealing with an injury, instead acting as a cheerleader for New Day as they beat the B Team. The advertised main event was then changed to Finn Balor defending his IC Championship against Dolph Ziggler. There is no official word on Kofi's injury, and he is set to be on SmackDown tonight to continue his feud with Samoa Joe over the WWE Championship. Thanks for watching, and a special thank you to our Patreon pledge hammers, some of which you can see scrolling their way into my stomach. Why not check out the new format of Screen Stalker, where they talk about change scenes from Avengers Endgame, play Mario Maker 2, and more. And don't forget to get your copy of the WrestleTalk Almanac Volume 2 by clicking the link on screen. I've been Luke Owen, and that were wrestling.